What if tomorrow you woke up and suddenly every single person on Earth spoke the same language? No translators, no subtitles, no misunderstandings. A world where you could talk to anyone, anywhere. It sounds like a utopia, right? But would this truly unite humanity? Or would it tear us apart in ways we never imagined? Let's explore what would happen if the Tower of Babel was rebuilt overnight. At first, the world would erupt in celebration. Imagine hopping on a plane to Tokyo, Seoul, or Rio and striking up a conversation with a local as easily as you would with your neighbor. Travel would become completely seamless. Think about the internet. Every app, every website, every movie, every book. Instantly understandable to all 8 billion of us. The digital world would become one enormous shared library. International business deals that used to take months of careful negotiation through interpreters would be closed in a matter of hours. Global trade would skyrocket. Companies could expand anywhere, hiring the best talent without language barriers. Governments could finally negotiate complex treaties without the risk of something being lost in translation. Diplomacy would be faster, more direct. Even education would be revolutionized. Students in rural India, downtown New York, and the Australian outback could all learn from the same lectures, the same materials, the same great minds. For a brief, shining moment, it would feel like humanity had finally achieved true connection, a global family at last. We'd understand each other on a level that was never before possible. The initial impact would be nothing short of a global party, but after the initial euphoria fades, we'd start to notice that something priceless, something irreplaceable, has vanished. Languages are not just a collection of words we use to point at things. They are living, breathing archives of culture, history, and a unique way of seeing the world. Each language is a cathedral of thought, built over thousands of years by generations of speakers. When a language dies, an entire worldview, an entire way of thinking, dies with it. Think about poetry. Words like the German Fernweh, a longing for a place you've never been, or the Japanese Komoribi, the sunlight filtering through the trees don't have perfect one-to-one translations. In a single global language, the nuance, the soul of that poetry, would be lost. The rhythm of a Shakespearean sonnet, the layered meaning in an ancient proverb, all of it would feel flat. Jokes that rely on wordplay in one language would cease to be funny. Stories passed down through generations would feel empty, stripped of their original cultural context. The world would become incredibly efficient, but at what cost? We'd gain a streamlined way to communicate, but we'd lose the rich, diverse tapestry of human expression. The world would feel emotionally and culturally blander, like a beautiful painting that's been converted to grayscale. And this is where the hidden cost turns into a real danger. A single, global language raises a terrifying question. Who controls it? Languages evolve, but in this new world, who gets to decide which new words are added and which old ones are removed? A centralized body? A corporation? A government? Imagine a world where the official dictionary is controlled by a single entity. They could literally erase concepts they don't like from existence. Words for freedom, protest, or dissent could be slowly phased out, replaced with words that encourage compliance and conformity. If everyone thinks using the same set of words, it becomes frighteningly easy to guide how they think. Propaganda wouldn't need to be translated. It could be beamed directly into everyone's mind in the same persuasive language. Censorship would become more powerful than ever. Dissenting groups would find it harder to form their own identity and code their messages. The unity we celebrated could quietly morph into a tool for global control. A monolithic culture where diversity of thought is seen as a threat. We might be more united, but we'd also be more manageable, more predictable, and far less free. So, would this new world at least be more peaceful? After all, so many conflicts are chalked up to misunderstandings and cultural differences. It's a nice thought, but probably not. Misunderstanding is often an excuse, not the root cause. Humans would still have plenty to fight about. We would still argue over land, over resources like water and oil, and over power. We would still have deeply ingrained ideological and religious beliefs that clash with one another. In fact, a single language might make things worse. Imagine being able to perfectly understand the insults, the threats, and the hatred of your enemy. There would be no ambiguity, no chance that they didn't really mean it. We would understand each other's grievances with perfect clarity and still fundamentally disagree. We would be able to articulate our reasons for conflict more precisely than ever before. Conflict doesn't disappear just because translation does. Humans have been fighting each other since long before we had different languages, and unfortunately, would likely continue to do so. In the end, a single, universal language is a double-edged sword. It could break down barriers and connect us in ways we've only dreamed of. But it could also erase the very diversity that makes our world so rich and vibrant. It could pave the way for a more unified humanity, or it could become the ultimate tool of control, silencing the beautiful, chaotic symphony of human cultures, and replacing it with a single, monotonous note. Perhaps the problem was never the different languages we speak. Maybe the real problem has always been what we choose to say with them, and how well we choose to listen. So I want to ask you, what do you think? If we all spoke one language, would it unite humanity? Or would it ultimately silence it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching,